Hi everybody. Make sure to get everything adjusted here. This is day 1275, and make sure that I am live. It says I am. Okay, very good. All right, so I can see everybody now. Let's see if I can hear. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. It says I am. Okay. I hear myself. Okay. Well, today is 1,275 days, and I'm just reaching out earlier today. It's not as early as I would like, because we want to reach more people. We're going to take time out in our day to reach more people. Normally I do a very late night, just not to interrupt family life, but we're going to try to reach more and more people, and that's really up to you. It really is. We have been shadow banned. I have tech friends that absolutely reaching out to about 10,000 followers a day that we absolutely are being shadow banned. And so it really depends on those that know when I go live, and to share the information and to let everyone know that things are really developing in Richard's case, to the point that I think it's very important for El Pasoans and our country, and even Chihuahua, Mexico, and the federal government of Mexico and our federal government to pay attention to this case. Everybody knows that by now that I have been reporting on the fact that Richard's case is intertwined with the August 3rd, which is Dallas Hart's birthday, 2019 Walmart mass shooting, Patrick Crucius case. Okay, it's connected to the mass shooting, and it's the Patrick Crucius case is the narrative that our law enforcement, our media put together to serve to the populace about what happened on that day, August 3rd, 2019. And we know that if you were a whistleblower, they were not friendly to you. They were not friendly to whistleblowers. We know that. We saw that in the evidence, specifically from Glendon Oakley Jr. Within, less than 24 hours, it was very visible that he had been bullied, that there were operatives that wanted to put forth a narrative, and he got in the way. He got in the way, and they continued to harass him and bully him for months. If the media is correct, and what we are reading is correct, because we are investigating now his case, the Patrick Crucius case, the Walmart mass shooting that occurred on August 3rd, 2019, we have become the investigators. We were made the investigators for our son's case, and we have kept to our son's case pretty much, unless there was a soldier's family that reached out to us, that wanted to give kudos, that wanted us to post about their loved one, and we did so, and we have done so, and we will continue to do so. And this whole battle for justice, this whole investigation in many different cases, because our law enforcement officers have leadership. I don't know how many, but it's enough. It's enough that they got away with harassing our community, that there was enough to harass and scare the living daylights out of our military soldiers, out of our El Paso police members, out of our CBP protectors, out of our attorneys, out of our um, uh, director of emergency services. And I know that the team, right, because don't forget that Thomas Kane's guard in the DES's stepdaughter was the female that was living in the barracks at the age of 14 years old, being pimped out to the soldiers in the barracks on Fort Bliss. There are so many numerous examples of bullying whistleblowers, harassing whistleblowers, threatening whistleblowers, and there's multiple examples of them winding up dead. Okay, them winding up dead. And so we have put, an investigative team together in Team Find Richard Halliday to look at the Patrick Crucius case and also the Walmart case. And the results just for, like a week is stunning. It stuns you. You are speechless because it shows definitively that there is a weaponization and an abuse of power in our Department of Justice. Okay? There's no question about it. And there is, of course, what President Trump has gone through. I've tried to separate all of that from Fort Bliss and El Paso because, that is a much larger issue when you're talking about his election, the elections for president. And so I've tried to separate that. But clearly, the evidence that we have given to Merrick Garland of the Department of Justice, and also to Christopher Wray in the FBI, and many, many more. We have given information to District Attorney Bill Hicks. We have yet to be contacted by him. We are going into 3.5 years, and we have yet to be contacted by the District Attorney of El Paso, which includes Fort Bliss, that is supposed to identify crime, identify criminals, document it, and prosecute it. And our son's case being involving the FBI supervisory special agent Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr. Being dirty, and also getting involved with politics, using his office, using his position for politics. And you can hear that my voice is a little shaky because I can't even believe that a person in that position would hate their country so much, that they would hate their city so much, that they would hate the people of their city so much, and also the people of Mexico, of Chihuahua, Mexico, so much, to be dirty like this and let tampered evidence be submitted when he knew it was tampered evidence, and allowed it to take down a sitting elected district attorney that just happens to be the first female, that just happens to be the first Latino female. And it is really disgusting that because it shows that it's not about race. It's not about race. It's about who's your daddy. Who's your daddy? Who are you serving? That's what this is about. And Yvonne Rosales, not a perfect person, And, I've pretty much have been independent and Republican my whole life. She's Democrat. She won fair and square. She was an upset election. And because she was looking into um, John Briggs, um, who was in charge of the murder cases and was dissatisfied with what she learned, and she fired him. She absolutely fired him. And 2 days later, they were already, she was already, I can't say they, I'm in the process of getting information. But we are suspicious because 2 days later, Bob Moore of El Paso Matters put out a petition to remove Yovan Rosales. And a big part of that was the tampered evidence that the FBI supervisory special agent Eddie Nieto allowed to be used against her. Okay? So this is huge news, because if that is the case, and that is the case, because that is the case, and we know that he has a conflict of interest with Nadal Baim, a conflict of interest with Lieutenant Colonel, Nadal Baim's father-in-law, Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM, which is Richard's unit. Because he has a conflict of interest with Angela Kachurga, because he has a conflict of interest with Lalani Hart, because he has a conflict of interest with many more, and, and allowed to stay in El Paso, where he has very close ties, he's raised there. Why was, and also was in the military there, which is a conflict of interest. He should have recused himself absolutely of any cases that were on Fort Bliss. And so as the investigation moves forward, and we learned that he had over 20 years there and was had conflicts of interest with Marlon Soto, conflicts of interest with Tavita Nusa, okay, then we can see that not only is there a problem in the Patrick Crucius case, not only is there a problem in the investigation into the August 3rd, 2019 mass shooting, absolutely there's a problem with the investigation into many soldiers, specifically Glendon Oakley Jr. Absolutely, Marlon Soto was assigned to investigate his death. We still do not have a cause of death. I have my suspicions. And so as, and that's in like just days of, skimming and going through articles and videos, connecting dots and all of our information, because don't forget that our information, that we have a database now. We have an intelligence database, and our intelligence has really helped in this, because Richard's case is intertwined with the Patrick Crucius case and also with the events of August 3rd, 2019. And so I don't know what Christopher Wray is going to do now. I do not know what Austin is going to do now in the Department of Justice and under Merrick Garland. I do not know. I do know this, that we can't wait around until we get someone in there that we like, that we think is good, because that's just not going to happen. We will always have disputes, right? And things are political because people are political. People have their beliefs, they have their talents, and they have their goals that they want to meet. And of course, that lends to collaboration and corruption and compromise and to meet their own agenda. And that's why there needs to be oversight. And that's why these agencies have to leave their position every 3 years, right? They can't be in that position so long with conflicts of interest. And there's so many conflicts of interest with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints there, which, who's your daddy, right? Is it the United States Constitution? Is it the law of the United States? Or are you working for a foreign and domestic enemy of this country? Because we absolutely know that Fort Bliss has a security breach, that weapons come off and on, that there is weapon smuggling, that there is sex cult activity, that there is narcotics trafficking, that there is human trafficking. And absolutely no way, being $34 trillion in debt, giving the military everything that they want, never ever stopping any kind of budget, right? Budget increase. They always have so much. And they are a tenth of the size as they were in World War II. And yet they are so bloated. In World War II, they had 7 4-star generals and admirals. Now they have 44, the last time I looked, 44 4-star generals and admirals. And this is a military, the 10th of the size of World War II. So they're very bloated. They have everything, and there is no excuse. They cannot give any excuse except for compromise and corruption and collusion and self-gain, working for self-gain, to leaving Fort Bliss having so many security breaches that our soldiers get harmed, that they can't protect our soldiers, our service members. Absolutely 100% that they are culpable for what they've done on Fort Bliss. And then it doesn't stop there, does it? The CID has now given their corruption, their collaboration, or vice versa, to the FBI there. And of course, Veronica Escobar, where is she in all of this? She absolutely knowing, there's not a doubt in my mind, but seemingly, I will say seemingly without a doubt in my mind, she knew that Nieto was up to no good. And she got in front of media with me and allowed that little clip to say, yes, I agree with Mrs. Halliday. We need to bring in a third party, the FBI, and meaning the likes of Nieto. And of course, that's exactly what we got, because when the FBI found Richard's remains in Chihuahua, Mexico, and we went over there to put in a request for checking remains, for also missing people, our request was tampered with. They allowed it to be tampered with. And all of this, these crimes that have been committed, even by the guard mount, they allowed the guard mount to smear Richard during an investigation of a missing soldier. The very soldier that they were supposed to be with an op-ord looking for, they smeared. And Anthony Swafford gave us a heads up on that. Not willingly, but he did. And this is how we have discovered, I think, what is breaking this whole case open, which we will be revealing very, very soon. And that's why I want to ask everyone to please share, to please tell everybody that Halliday's case is intertwined with the mass shooting of August 3rd, which is Dallas Hart's birthday, 2019, and also Patrick Crusius's case, which still more than 4 years later, the DA, Bill Hicks, who doesn't even bother to reach out to us and knows that these two cases are intertwined by Bliss Avenue, by by the individuals at Bliss Avenue. And he is supposed to be identifying the crime. He should reach out to us for the sake of the Patrick Crusius case, the prosecuting case. And also, I would think that Joe Spencer and Felix Valenzuela, but Felix Valenzuela is also connected to Richard's case in a not too good of way. And so, yeah, it really is. And, you know, he has a conflict of interest with the Richard Halliday case. And so, you know, I just wanted to talk about a few things that we learned in the Patrick Crusius case. And I absolutely know what it's like to lose somebody. I know what it's like to lose someone young. I know the injustice of it all. I absolutely know that in Richard's case and in other cases in my life. So this is in no way trying to harm any cases out there when it comes to the events of August 3rd, 2019. Why am I saying this? Because I know that it is so huge, and I'm trying to help, because I think that all of those families would like to get justice, right? They would like to get justice, and they don't want games played with them, and they don't want other people to be hurt. And there is multiple eyewitness accounts that say that there was more than one shooting. The timeline of Patrick Crusius coming, all of it starting at around 10:39, maybe a few minutes earlier than that in the parking lot, but at 10:39 walking in, the timestamp, I guess, of that picture, walking into the Walmart and starting to shoot, starting to corner people and shoot them in the head and things like this. That's in the news. It's absolutely terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And, you know, so at 10:39, he walks in and hundreds of bullets were sprayed into that Walmart. Okay. Hundreds of bullets. When you have 23 that are deceased and you have 22 that have been injured, and, you know, these are with multiple bullets, they're, you know, absolutely with any kind of investigation, you are told that there was a lot of bullets, okay? A lot of bullets. So the other thing that there was, and I'm going to talk about Chris Grant. Chris Grant, who, you know, was hailed a hero for throwing soda bottles at Patrick Crusius to divert his attention, right, and then he took a couple bullets himself. But many bullets came at him, but 2 bullets hit him. That's, I just want to make that very clear from what I've read, that more bullets were coming at him, but 2 hit him. And he was throwing soda bottles at Patrick Crusius. But I don't want to say Patrick Crusius. He was throwing soda bottles at the shooter, okay? At the shooter. Now, you know, if he identified Patrick Crusius, then great, wonderful. But he threw, and now there's a lot of questions about this soda. And I looked this up because soda would be everywhere, okay? You drop a soda bottle. I have, you know, grandbabies. You drop a soda bottle and the soda goes everywhere. You don't need a lot of strength. But when you have that kind of adrenaline going, you would think that the strong, very strong looking, very healthy looking Chris Grant would be able to throw like a quarterback, right? Like a quarterback. And, you know, the bottle would absolutely explode. I've looked all over line, absolutely corroborating evidence that the bottle would explode. So that would mean that the shooter and those around would get splatters of soda on their clothing. And if you are, with that kind of adrenaline and what's going on, you would probably get blood on you. Okay. I know this from Austin Hawk. The murderer was covered in blood. Okay. It was really, really bad. So when you're killing 23 and injuring 22, I think that you would have some blood on you. And in the pictures at 11:06, that is the timestamp. I believe it's 11:06 that Patrick Crucius surrendered himself to the Texas Rangers and to a motorcycle police officer. And when you look at the picture, there's weird things about the pictures that are released on that, but what I'm looking for is just evidence of being messy, having messed up clothes, some soda, some blood to say I'm here. And I did get a comment from my post that said that everyone in El Paso knows that it takes more than 3 minutes to get from in front of the Walmart where you park your vehicle, or you're walking around parking in the back or whatever, to get into your vehicle, to get out of the traffic, to know where to go. Thank you so much for that post, because I hadn't considered that. And that's what Team 5 Richard Halliday does. They consider all things and they make wonderful points. So I'm very grateful for that. But he supposedly was not from that area, but yet he very quickly knew exactly where to go and, parked and surrendered himself. And he looked very clean. I didn't see any splatters. His shoes looked very clean. I looked very carefully. Maybe somebody else can tell me differently, but something is very wrong in the Patrick Crucius case. Number one, being autistic. Number two, the way he presented himself. That is very, very, very odd. Very odd. And so I'm really reaching out to the professionals out there, to those that have worked with autistic individuals, especially adults, that can give their opinion on what transpired in such a very, very short time. Because from 10:39 to 10:06, that is very, very odd. And I would really like to know what was the timestamps for Oakley Jr., for Glendon Oakley Jr., and what he saw in the mall, that he heard shots in the mall outside of Foot Locker. And if you look on the map, it's a very long distance, okay? You're not going to hear in a climate-controlled mall, you're not going to hear gunshots. I don't believe so. And to hear it outside of Foot Locker, where the people are so afraid that they're locking themselves down and the children are running around scared mindlessly, and he is helping them, rescuing them. And he noticed many, many mall cops with M4s. This is astonishing, to say the least. And to have this case connected to Richard's case is even more astonishing. So something is not right, and that is why Bill Hicks has not been able to set a trial date for this case. And that's my opinion. I don't know, but that's my opinion, because he still says he's waiting on evidence. So it's, yeah, 4 years, over 4 years, and you would think that everybody would be on this would be on this to make even a name for themselves, to get justice for these poor families. And yes, it is really, really concerning. So let's talk about Bill Hicks a little bit. There was an article, I think it was El Paso Inc., Team Farm Richard Halliday sent me, that was also astonishing. You know, you're just like, what? By Reyes Mata. And thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Anicia, for coming on. And that article is very important, just like the article that I posted, and I should post it again, in Medium about the Patrick Crucius and the events that happened on August 3rd, 2019. But in Reyes Mata's article, he talks about the open records that he received. He seems to be, I've been told, that he's a master at open records, that he requests them, he gets them, he reads them with a fine-tooth comb, and he knows the system, he knows the politics there, and he understands what he's reading, and that's why he is reporting something like this. And what is he reporting? He's reporting that the Secretary of State contacted Bill Hicks in January 25th, 22. I believe it was at 20. Let me make sure. I want to say 23. I think it is 23. I have my timeline in my notes. That's very, very important. Yes, it is. It is 2023. So he was in December of 2022. He was appointed by Governor Abbott to take over for Yvonne Rosales, okay, who was with duress forced, and I will say forced, because of the false tampering evidence that Nieto allowed, in duress, to submit her resignation. And I think that was election tampering by the FBI supervisor, Agent Nieto. Bill Hicks was appointed then December 14th, and the El Paso Times reported on December 21st that Bill Hicks was sworn into office as El Paso's new district attorney, replacing Yvonne Rosales. And then January 1st, Loretta Hewitt is hired by DA Bill Hicks in the El Paso District Attorney's Office as the new prosecutor. Okay, that's very, very important that it is January 1st. January 11th is the timestamp for his statement of officer form, which is very important, because when you go to that statement of officer form, which we did, Team Farm Richard Halliday did, and I posted screenshots, it says you have to do this together with your oath of office, and before you do anything in your office, you have to sign these and submit these. Okay, those aren't the exact words, but those are the wording, right? That they have to be submitted together. Well, on January 11th, that was the timestamp on his statement of officer, which they call the anti-bribe form. It's the anti-bribe statement that every official in the categories that the governor's office have something to do with. I mean, they, as a DA, he had to submit that to Austin, okay, to the Secretary of State. Not all officials have to submit it to Austin, but Bill Hicks did as El Paso's district attorney. And his timestamp, here he was sworn in on the 21st of December, but his timestamp for the statement of anti-bribe commitment wasn't until January 11th. That is very, very problematic legally because he is supposed to be abiding by the law. He's held in a much higher, uh, scrutiny than any of us because he's district attorney and we pay him to be law abiding and to identify crime, identify criminals, document the crime and the criminals, and prosecute the criminals. And, is he supposed to prosecute himself now? Because that is a huge violation. He violated his oath of office and his anti-bribe document. And before you say, oh, that's not a big deal, it is a big deal because everything, the Constitution makes it very clear that if you're doing actions before that is done, that they can be held to scrutiny legally and even voided because it was not done under the law. And so this is a huge, huge problem. But it gets even worse. It gets even worse because Reyes Mata, with the open records, got emails between the two of them from the Secretary of the State and Bill Hicks on the 25th of December. The Secretary of the State says, hey, you haven't submitted your anti-bribe statement. That's on the 25th of January. I hope I didn't say December, but it's 25th of January. And he turned it in the email on January 26th. Yet the timestamp was for January 11th. Okay? And what is very interesting is that on January 13th, 2023, Loretta Hewitt was selected as the lead prosecutor for the Walmart shooting case by Bill Hicks, DA Bill Hicks. That makes her appointment subject to being null and voided. And that makes his office, his oath of office, even his position subject to scrutiny, so much so that he can be null and voided. And so it's going to be interesting to see what Abbott does with this information that has been put out there for the public to read. And the loss of trust is huge. And if Bill Hicks, and we know he absolutely has not reached out to us, so he doesn't reach out to us. He's very sloppy with his oath of office and with his anti-bribe statement. And he's very sloppy with Judge Medrano, because yesterday Joe Spencer, the defense attorney for Patrick Crusius, showed video evidence at that hearing that was yesterday. It has a certain name to it, that Bill Hicks was engaged in numerous media interviews. Okay, you can say that's not a problem, but it is a problem because Judge Medrano had issued a gag order in the case. And yet, Bill Hicks, sloppy once again sloppy, broke the gag order. And there's so much politics in this that Judge Medrano was unmoved. It was like he was a statue. He was a statue of a judge, and there was no action taken. So I don't know if today he's going to take action, but if they do this in the mass shooting case of 23 dead and 22 injured, okay, with Bill Hicks separating out the dead from the living to say he's going to, make it quicker, No, no, no. Then he has a evidence problem, and now he is silencing the living survivors of August 3rd, 2019. He is getting rid of a lot of evidence that he says he has problems with. It doesn't make sense. It's very sloppy, and if he's sloppy with uh, the mass shooting, with Patrick Crusius's prosecution, he could uh, make it to the point that Crusius, everything falls apart and he walks away. I mean, that's what's going on. And if he's that messy, then of course it explains why he is so messy and unresponsive in Richard's case, where it is an international case with reports of Richard's remains being found in Mexico, in Chihuahua, Mexico, and Richard being a U.S. Army soldier on Fort Bliss, and Fort Bliss having so many security breaches, which means that it would expose, put a light on that the DA office has not done their oversight, that Veronica Escobar has not done her oversight, that Ted Cruz has not done his oversight, that the generals in charge of Fort Bliss and the admirals, because 85,000 missing, unaccounted for children were, it was Ann Ogle and the admirals, that, there's a real problem with security breach. And we know it's true because even Thomas Kane, who was in charge of the security of Fort Bliss, director of security of Fort Bliss, said that there's security breaches, and there's security breaches in the JAG on Fort Bliss, and that Richard was good food for the coyotes. And we still are going through the audio. Just so many things have happened, and the prioritizing the FBI and the Department of Justice is very, very important, because they have weaponized, it seems like it, the highest law enforcement, which is the FBI, and I guess you can claim the CIA, but I don't know much about the CIA. I'm just going to say the FBI and the Department of Justice. And this puts us all, you think, oh my gosh, that Halliday mother, she's in danger. No, we all are in danger. What they have done to us, what they have done to so many families, it is spiraling out of control, and more people are being hurt. And it's just a matter of time that those tentacles of pain, of death, of injustice touch everybody. And so we have to, warn people and ask them to gird themselves and share our information, so that we can get justice for Richard, and get people on the Facebook, on the TikTok, on the Rumble, on whatever platform that we are on, YouTube and everything, to watch and to share, because every day is breaking news. Every day we have more and more information coming out, and we haven't even started yet. And what we've discovered from the 700 pages of the CID is that they're also very sloppy, and you would think that they would know how to handle the case, but they're very, very sloppy. And because of that, the information that we're getting is very important. And so that is why we are moving at 100 miles an hour. I would say 1,000 miles an hour, and we're trying to keep up with it. And we need your help to move it forward to other people. And that is the political power, the driving force behind this, because we don't want to have to wait until we get some people that are interested in justice in these higher positions, right? We want justice now. We want justice now, and we need to drive because they work for us. whether we like them or not. It doesn't matter if we like them or not, and it doesn't matter if they like me or not. They are obliged under their oath, under their duty, to do the right thing, to protect and serve the Constitution of the state, the United States of America, and to also, which is the land and the people, right? The land and the people, so that we can be a prospering country. It's very, very important. And so they don't have to like, it doesn't say, well, if you like this person, that give them justice. It doesn't say that. Or, if you like that person, ask for justice. No, I go in front of any judge, any FBI director, any, the anybody that's in these positions, and say, look, you're obliged. And Team Find Richard Halliday is strong, and we are going to drive you to do your duty. And that's what we have to do. And because we have to, if we want peace, we want a peaceful resolution. And the only way to peaceful resolution is through our justice system and our law enforcement system being driven to do their duty. That's the only way. And so thank you, everyone, so much for coming on early. And if there's any questions, I'll take that now. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Anicia. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Please share.